So I have a question.
Yes,
Did
ma'am.
your discovery of the mothers and the goddess, did that come after the divorce?
Yes.
Okay, let's talk
Long
about
after.
how long were you married?
So, okay. So the hard thing about that is I married the same person twice.
Hmm.
So which time do you want to know how long was I married? The first time or the
Okay,
second
give
time?
us a little backstory on that. How long was you married the first time? How long did you divorce? And how did you came back and reunited? So how long was the second one? So just kind of give us that little timeline.
So the first time we were married for about 2.5 years.
Mm-hmm.
The second time we were probably married much shorter. I would say maybe a year.
How long were you separated in between marriages?
The first, okay, the separation between the first marriage and the second marriage is almost 10 years, so 9 years.
Okay, so y'all, both of y'all had a lot of different experiences within that 9 years and decided to come back and do it again. And then you say you ended up divorcing and separating less than the 2 years you was married the first time.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay.
And
Okay.
I think it was more of my own delusion
Okay.
because we have a child together. So had we not had that child together, I don't think I would have went
Hmm.
back the second time, because I think because having the child together kept us
It
linked
did.
up. It
And
kept
it still does because it's a
Oh
blood
yeah.
covenant.
Oh yeah. Well, now he's 21, so I ain't got to do nothing with him. So I don't
Well,
have to.
yeah,
In
okay.
the same way that we were
Or
when my son
before, as
was
far as
much
really
younger.
co-parenting and having to have that dialogue and all of that. Yeah,
Interaction. Yes, ma'am.
okay,
Yes, ma'am.
okay. So this is not about talking so much about your marriage.
I know.
This divorce and empowered conversation is about talking about you. What are the things that you discovered about yourself within the marriage? And then we're gonna get to what you discovered outside of the marriage. So let's go within the marriage. What did you discover? Who was LaToya and who is she in marriage?
And it's so funny that you bring that up, and that's why I did not go into any details about the
Yeah.
marriage and what was and what wasn't. But yeah, what I discovered about me, hindsight being 2020, I discovered, but I kind of knew this a little bit before, but I didn't know the degree of the indoctrination of patriarchy ideology and things of that nature. But I discovered that I was delusional in love. I was in limerence.
Explain to my girlies, to explain to the people what is limerence, because I'm just discovering about that last year. That was my first time ever hearing the word, hearing about the character and the behavior, and I was like, huh. Okay, I think I kind of identified with it because my son calls me old sucker for love. He say I love love. It's not I love the whole being in love and the romanticism and all that shit. So tell
So
the people what is limerence.
it's literally what you just said. It's being in love with love. It's the whole ideology of romance, which we have been indoctrinated with.
Yes.
We've been, and I'm a Pisces, so anybody who knows anything about astrologies knows that Pisces are the lovers of the zodiac.
Mm-hmm.
We are the hopeless romantics, and I embodied that. I was that, and I love love. I'm like you. I love love. However, I do believe that because we have the programming of limerence and not the real definition of what love frequency
I
is,
want to do anybody know the shit.
I don't think they
That's
do.
my question. I don't think nobody know
They
what the fuck
don't.
love is.
That
I,
they
I
don't
really
because
don't.
love is a vibration that
Yes,
is
it's
of
not a
God.
thing. It's
It's a
not a
it's
thing.
it's a God
And
vibration,
it's
and that's another
active.
reason. And
And it's
that's another reason
active.
it's very
Yes.
active, and that's another reason why I love green, because it is the frequency of the heart. It's the color of the heart chakra.
Yes. Yes.
So
Yes.
that's another reason why I love that information that I've learned, because it's all in alignment.
Yeah.
Green definitely talks about our green definitely signifies the heart chakra
Mm-hmm.
and that sort of thing. But anyway, limerence is the whole ideology of romance between men and women, And I watched a video about a psychologist by the name of, I can't remember his name, Dr. Ryan, Psych Hack on YouTube. And he had a video about limerence. Romance is for men.
Mm-hmm.
It's so that they can get women. It's
It's
not
so
for
that
men
they can level the playing field when they don't necessarily have the
when they
resources.
don't qualify.
When they don't have the resources to bring to the table, they have to bring the romance because they
Exactly.
can't compete with a man that has the resources to take care of the woman
Exactly.
and provide. They can't always, equate and equal up to that. So they have to bring something. So they bring the flowers and the candy
In the game.
and the
In the
words and
game.
the game.
The
Yeah, all the
poetry.
game. Yes,
Yeah.
yes, yes. Come
And
on,
you know
come with some more.
and you know what? And that's so interesting because now that you're saying all of this, that's how I was
Mm-hmm.
mesmerized. It was because of the game. It was the talking. I love communication. I'm a
That's
sapiosexual.
me,
So
girl.
you get
Baby,
you
get my mind, honey, and the rest will follow. That thing be tangling down there.
all the way. All the way. And that's how I got sucked in. And I think
Yes.
that's how a lot of women get sucked in.
Yeah.
Um and it's not for nothing that you have people like what is Pimp and Ken
Yes.
that talk about the psychology of getting in the minds of a woman so that you can control her. All of that is so true, and I didn't know anything about that when I met my husband,
Mm-hmm.
um before that or anything. And so I'm just thinking that these feelings that I'm having is love because I'm having a physiological reaction
Right.
to all of the things that's going on, the love bombing, just the words, and not even paying attention to when the action doesn't align with the words.
Okay. Okay. So, what did you learn about yourself in the marriage?
I learned that I was a broken little girl.
Okay.
I learned that I was a broken little girl. I learned that I didn't have a chance to evolve to be the woman that was dying to come forth because in the marriage I had to shrink. In the marriage I was told you're not letting him be a man because I was always big and bubbly and kind of lived out loud a little bit when I was younger. But once I got into that relationship, I had to shrink so that he could feel bigger. I wasn't trying to overshadow him. I wasn't trying to outknow him on things. But if what he was saying didn't make sense to me, I was like, I ain't doing that. That don't make sense. I'm gonna be combative. I'm gonna be argumentative, and I'm gonna stand on my square. And that caused, a lot of friction.
Mm-hmm.
And I didn't know, and at that time, I didn't know that for me, in order for me to be in a relationship, I needed a partner who was willing to hear me out on some of the things that I was saying, and also not feel so threatened
Mm-hmm.
by my light and my knowledge and my wisdom, even though I was younger. I still had more experience than they did in certain things because
Right.
they lacked the experience or they lacked the wisdom on certain things, and it came naturally for me.
Mm-hmm.
And so I had to try to defer, and then even having families telling me you're not letting him be the man.
Mm.
You
Were
know
you
so the
told yourself,
reinforcements.
was that previous generation, that generation that taught us the struggle of? The
Absolutely.
generation that
Absolutely.
taught us to go in it for love, but then and that's how we're supposed to choose. We wasn't necessarily, many of us, especially in our culture, was
Black
not
people.
taught. Our culture, black culture, we were not taught to level up in giving the assignment on how to choose a husband, how to choose
That's a
a child's father,
provider. That's a
that's a
provider.
provider. We were taught to go in it for love, right? Especially many women have been, but really so in our community because we didn't have all the resources that come with it,
Exactly.
right? So men, though, no matter what economic class they're in, are taught to choose women to be wives, to serve in the household, and to provide the children and take care of the children. That's their main focus. Their focus is not love. So we
Ex-
coming from two different playing fields.
Absolutely. Absolutely. And they use love as a, as a carrot to dangle to hook us in,
Yes, ma'am.
because if you want that love that they were giving in the beginning, you're constantly seeking for that from them, even when things go awry.
So
And
I feel like we prove ourselves. We constantly proving our measure of service.
auditioning,
Yeah, we're
auditioning. Yeah.
constantly doing that. And like what did they used to tell us? The older women, well, if you give him the milk for free, he ain't gotta buy the cow. We're constantly giving the milk for free because, like you said, we're auditioning to get the leading lady
Yes, ma'am.
role. We're auditioning for, and the thing about it is, we're auditioning for the proposal.
Mm.
We're auditioning for the before after before marriage is engagement. We're auditioning for the proposal, the engagement, the ceremony,
Hmm.
then the
All of that.
marriage. Because see, it comes in that order for girls because we're taught that, and we start feeling and thinking about that young. We're thinking about the engagement. We're thinking about the proposal, the big diamond. We're thinking of all that shit, and we just throwing all the characteristics of what we need out the window.
And you know what? It's interesting that you say that, because when I was a little girl, I was the one who was sitting in her room at 10, 11, 12, listening to love songs, writing out the lyrics over and over, and sitting there listening, sitting in my room, sixth grade, I remember. um, what's that song by Troop? Listen, sitting in my bedroom listening to that song 50, 11 times, and feeling that whole feel of what that is. And that became a part of that
It
indoctrination and an
is.
ingraining program
Mm-hmm.
of that's what this is supposed to be. And you think that that's what you're getting when you get in relationship,
Right.
but that ain't, you're not guaranteed that.
No, no, it's not. So you said you identified with the broken little girl. Okay. Tell us a little bit about the broken little girl. What because that was a big revelation. That was a big revelation because you have many people that go into marriage. Of course, the trauma and the triggering and all that starts to leak, but from both parties, your spouse and yourself. You're triggering
Absolutely.
one another because more than likely we've trauma bonded. You know what I'm
That
saying?
part.
A lot
That
of
part.
times it's not love, it's the trauma bonding,
That
right?
part.
So with that, in you discovering that you were the broken little girl, do you know how many of us are in a relationship right now, in a marriage, and don't understand that that's who they're dealing with. They're dealing
That's
with
who's
a
showing
broken
up.
little,
That's who's
that's
showing
what's
up in the
showing up, a
relationship.
broken little girl, right? And then we'll go out and get into another relationship and another relationship and another relationship, and it's the little broken little girl seeking something. What was your broken little girl seeking? Let's get into her.
Um, Validation, for sure. Worthiness, worthiness. Seeking love, um, attention. Um, I also came from a broken home. Well, I let me reword that. My parents were not married.
Mm-hmm.
So you come from thinking that because your parents weren't married and people are supposed to be married, and that's the fulfillment of family. That's why I
Mm-hmm.
reworded what I said, because I don't even
Okay.
like the term. I don't like the term broken home anymore. But I thought that that was the ultimate goal, was to be a husband and wife and have the children. And so that's why, hence why I went back the second time, because I'm trying to restore the family.
Right. You're trying to restore the ideology and the perception of what you think it's supposed to be.
Exactly.
Right. Got you.
Yeah,
Got you.
exactly.
Okay. So that's good. So what have you done in connection to start healing that broken little girl?
So a lot of the self work that I started to realize was back to what you said earlier, is that everyone's coming into these relationships broken children. I had no concept of inner child. I didn't have a concept of that. Once I left the second time, I started, and I don't think even then did I know anything about the inner child. It was just more of a, you know what? It's not even about him. It's
Yes.
it's about me and me loving myself enough to not accept what is unacceptable to me. And so, what is it in me that is causing me to accept what is unacceptable to me in the conscious mind versus what is going on in my subconscious? That programming that's running underneath there, what is that? So I had to figure out, I had to go in there and start digging around and working through these areas of no boundaries, no uh, standards, no expectations. Um, why did I not have boundaries? Why did I not have standards? Why did I not have expectations? And really sitting with that. And then also realizing that my relationships, my friendships, and my family relationships all need to have boundaries,
Yes.
standards, expectations. So it's not even just romantic relationships that I need to be aware of. I need to be aware of all of my relationships and how I show up in them and what are my boundaries, standards, expectations for all of them.
Yes. Yes. So I know in you coming into this next level of your evolution, you not only released your marriage, I know that came with losing friends and family members.
It
Yeah.
did. Oh, well, but the only thing about me losing friends, I didn't lose friends and family members because I left the marriage.
Hmm.
I lost friends because I was in it.
Oh, okay. Because you
Yeah.
went back.
Yes.
Got you. Okay.
I
Got
lost I lost friends being in the
you. Mm.
marriage because I was so delusional and I was so broken in it that I was in a state of confusion because you're gonna call your friends and tell them what's going on,
Yeah.
and they
Yeah.
gonna want they're trying to tell you you need to leave, and not in all those terms, but they're trying to encourage you that you deserve better and that you
Right.
deserve better, or that you deserve more. And I had one friend in particular, and we had to, well, we didn't have to break friendship, but she gave me a really good talk and said, you know why you're in this relationship. And she was a little bit more self-aware than I was at the time. And I think she was trying to help me unravel from the mental chaos that was going on in my mind, because at that time I literally could not understand why am I still in this relationship.
Yes.
I am literally crying on the phone with her and not understanding why do I stay, because there was so much calcification going on that there was a petition that was not letting me get to the truth.
Okay. Do you think that had to do with a trauma bond?
Absolutely, absolutely, trauma bonding
Okay.
and more and added trauma throughout the
Yeah,
relationship.
because it's starting to layer.
Oh yes,
Yes.
so it was so much more to dig
Right.
through.
Right.
Yes, so much more to dig through after my own stuff. I had to deal with the stuff that we were dealing with because there was trauma added in the relationship. So it
Yeah.
was just,
Yeah. Layer on
yeah.
top of layer. Okay.
Listen,
So who is LaToya? Who is the evolution of LaToya? Once she has identified with the broken little girl. She has did some healing work. She's persevered. Okay. Who is the evolution after leaving the marriage in after the divorce? Who's the evolution of LaToya? What have you learned? Where are you? And what beauty have you connected with after the divorce?
um, she is ocean now.
Mm.
So I
The
flow
water.
with ease. Yeah, I'm water. I'm water. I'm fluid. And I'm learning to balance out the rage and the calm. And what I've discovered is I'm abundant. Because there were some scarcity mindset that was also involved in that as well, because poverty, that was another thing that I
Mhm.
discovered about my childhood. And I'm still working my way through that, those issues. But I discovered that I'm magical. And I discovered that the things that I used to do as a young girl were the things that brought me joy, that helped me to create. I've always been a creator. I love to sit and read the books and get into that imagination and to manifest. I didn't know that that was something that I could do ongoing, or to continue to play in my healing. Um, I used to do yoga as a kid, and I didn't know that I was doing yoga as a young girl in the projects at
Wow. Look at
six
your soul. Your soul just directed you to yoga. That's
at
beautiful.
6 years old. I was doing yoga in the projects, and so now at 46, I'm actually in yoga teacher training right now, and it's taking me back. And I've done a lot of somatic trauma release through doing
That's
yoga,
good.
and I think because as a child, my intuition was telling me to do yoga because of the trauma that I was in childhood.
Got you. Okay. Okay.
It was
It's amazing how the soul can navigate us. We're unaware at the
oh
time,
yeah,
but as we begin to mature, we get a little bit more experience, and we look back, we'll be like, "Wow, I got the signs and the symbols then."
yeah,
For today, for what I'm dealing with. Like, yeah, it's an
yeah.
amazing experience. So, what is one takeaway that you received from that marriage and coming out of that marriage? What is one takeaway that you can give us that just encompasses it all?
Heal, heal prior to getting, and I think heal prior to getting into relationships, because what you said earlier, we all come, we there's not enough information that has gone out that has taught us societally to heal because of historical trauma.
Yeah.
That's generational trauma. I have post-traumatic slave trauma.
Mm-hmm.
I'm also we're all carrying the wounds of our ancestors. And
Mm-hmm.
so none of the generations before us have stopped, sat, and healed in enough
Mm-hmm.
to
Mm-hmm.
to carry on this life cycle.
Right.
And so we keep perpetuating the same thing over and over and thinking that we're going to get something different. And we have society profiting off of the
Yeah.
dysfunction of these relationships and the divorces.
Yes.
So,
Yeah.
I mean, that's basically what I've learned. And until we stop that madness, break that generational curse, it's just going to carry on. So,
Yeah.
I'm starting to see more people that are becoming abstinent or choosing to be single
Mm-hmm.
so that they can take that time to heal,
Mm-hmm.
put themselves in quarantine. And I think that's pretty much what I did for some years after my divorce, and put myself in quarantine and just decided this is the time that I needed. This is the time that I needed before becoming a mother at 19
Right.
and becoming a wife in between the age of, or being in that relationship between the ages of 22 and 25. My whole youth was stolen, or my whole youth was preoccupied
Yes.
with all of that. I did not get a chance to grow up to be a woman. I was being told that I was a woman at 18 and had no experience of
Mhm.
what that was.
Which means that many times in us going through that very natural process in becoming a woman, many times that's delayed because we have these different responsibilities that are on us at a very early age. I understand. I had my first child at 16. Got with my first. I called one of the loves of my life. You know what I'm saying? And he
Same.
was 22, and he brought all that game and control and all that, and had me wrapped for a minute, and so from there I also had my four children, and so I think I last stopped having children about 26, 27. So in that, I was having children and being a mother and be showing up as a wife, in that, not really knowing who I am.
You didn't get to exist.
Yes,
You you
right, right.
you were mother, wife, and everything else to everyone else, and
Mm-hmm.
you never got to pour into you
Mm-hmm.
so that
And that's what,
you can show
but
up,
if you
so that you can
no,
integrate.
but you notice with this society, they tell us that this is the age where you need to be getting married. You need to be getting married somewhere around 20, between 20 and what? Anywhere 20, 25, 26. Because anything older than 30, you're not having kids and not being married, they used to call it old maid. And then that's when older people be asking you, well, when you gonna get married and have some children? Like it's mandatory for a woman to do that. So what they've done is set us up to lose ourselves very early.
Absolutely. Well, I mean, you must lose yourself, because in order to continue to perpetuate this cycle, like what we said about the limerence,
Mhm.
that's a part of the program. I mean, that's being instilled through music,
Yes.
media, um, through the church. These They would not be able to keep men under control if they couldn't have a woman.
Oh yeah.
If they couldn't If those men who are undesirable or unqualified could not have access to women, they would not be able to uh, control them. And
Yes.
so, in order for the hierarchy to control the men at the bottom, then they need them to be preoccupied with women that they can subjugate.
Right.
And you can only subjugate a woman who is not a full functioning human being, who doesn't know herself, who doesn't love herself, and who is unwise. And that's usually a
Yes.
younger, gullible,
Hmm.
naive young lady, and she's going to be fed into this idea of love. She's not going to have agency.
Right.
She's
Oh my
not going to
God.
stand firm. She's not going to stand firm on her boundaries.
Mm.
She's not going to have a boundary, because she's pretty much who we were at the age that we were, because her parents, unless her parents evolved and was able to give her better understanding of herself, but she is also going to be a perpetual person in the cycle
Hmm.
of what has already happened. And that's why we now can see it a mile
Yes.
away.
Yes. We
Mhm.
can. We can. Thank you so much. You got any last words for us, honey? This has been an awesome conversation. You are definitely have been like shared with your empowerment with us, and I just want to thank you for that. You are so
Thank
beautiful. You
you.
are just shining. You over there
Thank
glowing,
you.
honey. I can see the aura
Thank
on you. You know
you.
what I'm saying? Just gorgeous. And I just want to say that it is an honor to meet another sister and be in connection with another sister who too is shining and working within her freedom, and who is also empowered after divorce.
Yes,
Because
I
there is
am.
love and life after divorce,
Oh,
honey. Let's be clear. And it
it's
doesn't
it,
always
it's
include being with somebody else.
listen, I literally just said a couple of days ago, Saturday, was it Saturday? Sunday. I have all of these male friends now that are pouring into me. It's non-sexual,
Good.
but it feels amazing, because I can be in community with men and not have to feel so obligated to be um a part of the gaze of those men.
And it
I
doesn't
can
have to be a transaction. It doesn't
it
have to
don't
be an exchange.
it
You have
doesn't.
to serve in some way or give up something,
Exactly.
you know.
And so I said, oh my God, this is wonderful. I love this where I am right now, because I can have multiple men
Right.
and not be committed to any of them, as far as like friendships, you know what I mean? And
Yes.
being poured into. And then I have my uh sacred sister circle. I'm a part of a book club, and we are currently reading Queen Afua's Circles of Wellness. And
Okay.
so we're preparing ourselves for communal understanding and preparing ourselves to be healers in this world. So that is what I am doing right now.
Good. And you cannot serve and give the medicine if you are not the medicine. So I appreciate the fact that you understand that you got to work on yourself and heal, begin healing yourself first before you go identifying and helping somebody else heal, honey. I
Absolutely.
appreciate you, LaToya. Tell everybody how they can find you.
I am on Instagram, LaToya Forbins. Actually, I'm sorry, not Instagram. I'm on Facebook, LaToya Forbins, and then I'm also on Instagram as Love LaToya underscore. And those are the only social media platforms that I have for me personally. And then I also have my organization, Self Love Through Self Care Project. So you can find us on Instagram and Facebook under those two names, Self Love Through
Okay.
Self Care
So
Project.
that's on Instagram, Self Love, Self Care Project. We can find you there
Self
in the
Love
community.
Self Love Through Self Care Project.
Okay, y'all got that self love through self care project. Go find her on Instagram and Facebook. That is her community, and that's the thing. We got to we must understand that healing is not always individual.
Oh,
Many times we have to also commit to community care, and especially us as women, when we get together, we automatically begin to heal because we automatically just it's a chemical thing that we connect and we begin to start cooperating and collaborating, and we begin to nurture one another, and in
absolutely.
that we just pour into each other. So understand that community is so important, and if you are over 40 and you are divorcing or you
Mm,
are divorced, join us over at the Rebirth Collective community on Facebook. It is 100% free. We are over here supporting one another. We are healing. We are sharing. Our good sister LaToya has come and given, her wisdom, shared her wisdom, and we appreciate that. Go over there on Facebook to the Rebirth Community Collective and be a part of a community of women that are actually reinventing themselves after divorce. All right. I love you. Peace and blessings. Mwah. Join our safe and supportive community for women who are over 40, recovering from divorce, and in the process of a reinvention and finding happiness. The Rebirth Collective.